Uh, Prakash Diwan joins us on the show. Hi, Prakash. What do you make of these numbers? LIC Housing Finance. The street doesn't like it.
Yeah. So, Nigel, I think it's, the season of expecting much better performance from financials. And, when you have other HFCs that have metrics which are looking so promising, LIC Housing Finance probably just managed to scrape through, finishing line. So I don't think...
Prakash, we're just coming back to you. Prakash, just coming back to you. Want to hear about that comment on LIC Housing Finance. But for the time being, let's cut into the Bharti Airtel con call.
Even more resilient. The second reason I would say we are well positioned is a brutal focus on quality customers. And today what I want to do is to take a geographical cut on these quality customers. The first lens or the first cut that we look at geographically is rural. I mentioned last quarter that we have an opportunity to expand into 60,000 odd high potential villages to win a greater 4G share of net additions. This expansion is in line with our plan, and early results have been encouraging. As a result, we are now at a lifetime high in terms of revenue market share at just under 39%, 38.7% on a comparable basis. I say comparable because our reporting reflects segmental performance unpeeled for mobile, broadband, DTH, and B2B. The second lens of this geographical cut is the top 150 cities. These cities account for almost 40% of the overall telecom market in India, and they're growing rapidly. Specifically, 80% of the market for postpaid, broadband, converged homes, and in fact on B2B it's more like 95% is concentrated in these 150 cities. Our focus is to win these cities, bringing the full power of the Airtel network, our channels, and all power using digital tools. Let me explain this in a little more detail. Let me start with postpaid. As I said, 80% of the market is in 150 cities. 5G is the pivot around which postpaid performance can truly accelerate. Today, almost 32 of the 335 million users we have already have a 5G handset, but for postpaid users, this number is as high as 33%. So while for the aggregate, it's a little under 10%, for postpaid, this is 33%. The structure of families in these top cities is also changing. There are more and more nuclear families. And this is the reason for our 599 plan launch in postpaid, which locks a nuclear family, let's say a husband and a wife, into one plan. Homes, again, 75% of the market for broadband is in the top 150 cities. We have a renewed focus on fast rollout. We're rolling out almost 1.6 million home passes every single quarter. And as I mentioned, convergence is the route around which we are entering the home. Broadband plus linear content and Extreme, where we are aggregating over 20 of the 35 odd OTT apps, are all provided in the form of one plan. Another area is channels. All high-value channels are predominantly focused on these 150 cities. Our own stores, our installation teams, our digital marketing focus, and the 30 million existing high-value homes who use one or more of the services that we offer.
Okay, all right. I will get back to that call as and when, we're getting some important market-moving information that's coming in. But Prakash, sorry to interrupt you the last time we were chatting. Tell us, you were making your point on LIC Housing Finance. Go ahead, please.
So, Nigel, I think what I was trying to say is that when you have other HFCs that have clocked such decent numbers and very clearly a growth trend that's kind of there to stay, including, some of them which have been beleaguered in the past, there's no reason why the street would accept very moderate pedestrian numbers from LIC. I mean, they've focused on quality, but they've not grown the book. So very clearly, in an environment which is getting competitive with PNB getting the might of private equity investors, Campion Homes getting the energy of a new management, there's just enough competition out there. And you can imagine how the entire housing finance business is going to undergo a major change when HDFC Bank and HDFC Limited come together and start putting their act in place. So there's much more to expect. And I think it's a very clear move out of something which could probably get even weaker as far as competitive intensity is concerned, and the numbers probably might not be able to sustain even this performance. So that's probably my call on LIC Housing Finance as compared to the other promising or performing HFCs that we've seen.
All right, got that. Prakash Diwan, more questions for you. Let's now address really what's been the dominant mid-cap theme of the market today, and that is the electronics manufacturing space. The stocks Amber as well as Keynes, they have been buzzing from the word go. 9:15 the bell opened and these stocks were off to the races, and that's largely because of some very solid numbers that we've got from these two companies. We have Surabhi Sutaria joining in to put the numbers in context. Surabhi, I mean, really lighting up the charts on a difficult day in the market. What's happened here?
So both the EMS players have reported a very strong set of numbers. Let's start with Amber first, where the revenues were up 55%, the EBITDA was up 62%, the EBITDA margin saw an expansion of 30 basis points, came in at 6.8%, and the PAT was up 82% on a year-on-year basis. Their RAC and the component segment, which is 80% of their revenues, that saw good growth as well, where the revenues were up 55% and the EBIT was up 54%. In their con call, they also indicated that they've added 2 to 3 new customers in this particular segment. Their electronics segment, there they saw a revenue growth of 69% and the EBIT was up 62%. Mobility and motor division, which is a smaller part of their revenue pie, but they also saw a good growth. Mobility saw a revenue growth of 38% and have an order book of 700 crores. So Amber also benefits from the Vande Bharat order. So the 700 crore order book includes the Vande Bharat order as well. And motor division, there the revenue was up 31% and the profitability was up 78%. Moving on to Keynes Technology, now it's a recently listed player. The stock has rallied close to 50% in the last 6 months. The revenues were up 53%, the EBITDA was up 48%, the margins have come in at 16%, and the PAT is coming at 41 crores versus 20 crores. So it's nearly doubled from Q4 of FY22.
Okay, got that. Yeah, those numbers definitely look impressive. And the question is now, can this be sustained? Let's ask Prakash what he thinks. Prakash, you tell us, a very interesting performance. And these are different companies, right? Amber Dixon more on the consumer piece, whereas you have some of these smaller niche players like Keynes, which are more into making electronics or parts for the industrial segment. Any thoughts on what we've seen today?
I think this is more like a catch-up play where some of the larger names like Amber have capitalized or improved capacities, and finally all of that's kind of coming to use. Operating leverage is kicking in, but the kind of earnings that these companies can have, so they can get very lumpy. So you might have this 11-12% kind of move on a certain day, and they could fall also on some bad news. So it's not something which is going to be somewhere where you will dig for great value. I think they are a very different pocket altogether. High risk, high return, very high beta stocks for that matter. I would prefer something much more stable, boring state in the market, and then something from cap goods where the visibility is good enough rather than these specialized EMS plays. So, yeah, I mean, good to see improvement there because it's been missing for a while. But I would look at picking any of these at this point in time.
Okay, all right. Prakash, just stay with us. By the way, those lower levels are getting defended. So the bulls will feel at least they're fighting back a little bit. Grasim is fighting back. ITC ahead of its numbers. A bit of a buzz. You hear all sorts of things. Let's see what the delivery is. But that's been one of the strongest stocks for the last 18 months or so. ITC at the high point of the day. You have Adani Enterprises as well that's moving up. And Bharti Airtel more or less stable in reaction to its numbers. So a bit of a fight back is what we've seen. The mid-cap index as well now down only around 0.2%. Slip into a short